He was on Chester Road. It's probably about 300 yards from where he actually worked. And it was a matter of 40 odd minutes, I think, after leaving work. Right. You know, so many reasons why he couldn't have been there, or he shouldn't have been there. I think the hardest time for us at that time was when they actually said he's been shot in the head. And it hurts when people say you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, because you should be allowed to be anywhere that you want to be.
Shortly before 9:15, on the 19th of January 2008, a group of men pulled up on the car park of the Gores Hill pub in Stretford. 3 of them got out of the vehicle, and 2 then went into the China Garden, a takeaway less than 100 yards away. Inside, one of them fired 3 shots. One of the bullets hit Halton McCollin in the back of the head, and he died 3 days later.
It's really hard to describe. It was so much surreal, not being there, but not being able to take it all.
The first time I met Halton's father, Halton Senior, was in January 2010, 2 years after his son had been murdered. I was struck by his dignity, but his determination to see justice done for his boy.
I'm extremely optimistic that his killer will be found. I am so confident. I would love it to happen sooner rather than later, but it will happen.
Now 10 years after his son was killed, we're speaking again. Someone has got to come forward and tell police what they saw on that night.
As strange as it might sound, that 10 years on, and every day that passes, it's a day closer to getting that peace. It's not closure. For someone to be apprehended and having to face the consequences of their actions, I need to have that belief that it will happen. And I think every day that passes is a day closer to that happening. 10 years seems a long time to people, but it just seems like yesterday that I lost my lad. And I think that the thought of going through the rest of my life and not knowing that someone's been held responsible probably it would be too much for me to take, really, and the family and his friends. This horrible crime that happened to my son, it's almost broke us as a family, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. And I do believe, and I've always believed, that we're only just a little bit away from having that information. We've got a lot of the puzzle together. It's just those little finer details, and I think every day that goes past, the possibilities of those little pieces coming into the hands of the police will eventually get there.
You feel guilty that you're not being able to grieve, if that makes sense, because it's not concluded. No, it's not, and that's I think that's the hard part for me.
Halton Senior agreed to come with me back to the scene where his son was shot, returned to the car park on which the men arrived, before pulling on balaclavas and walking into the takeaway. There were 3 young women who saw the killers get out of their vehicle and then walk to the takeaway where your son was buying a meal. They saw the killers get out of the vehicle. What would you say to those 3 young women?
It's take a bit, sorry. Yeah, I mean, what I would say, and I do believe some of those young women actually visits Halton's grave, and I've seen flowers and I've seen cards, and I've managed to work out it could well have been 1 or 2 of those who's visited. I mean, if it meant anything to you, obviously, and you've got information that you might have seen people before they put the balaclavas on, or recognise who they are. I mean, if it means that much where you can actually visit him in the cemetery, then all I can do is appeal that if there's any information there, regardless to how little it might be, that you speak to the police officers who's investigating the case. And if you're frightened, and I can understand that to some extent, it's been 10 years on. You were very young women then. You're probably matured now with your kids, got family, and maybe feeling a bit more open to expressing what happened on that night, whether it's helpful or not helpful, but just for your own sanity. If you feel like I do at times, where you have these flashbacks and you think about what could I have done on the night, you know, just come and let people know exactly what it was that you saw, whether you recognised anyone. And if you don't want to do it that way, you know, anonymous, make your calls anonymous.
I don't hold any malice, but there's a you know, there's a justice that I want.
It's hard to put into words really, because being this is probably the last place where he was able to be who he was, and then having to revisit this and knowing this is also the place where we actually lost him. It's been hard coming back here. I think I've been back here probably 4 times at the most, and it's took me a long time before I was even able to drive past, let alone walk past this little section, of Chester Road.
Let many people say, you know, in time you find ways of dealing with it, but you wake up to it, you go to sleep with it.